What's good, y'all? Welcome back to a brand new video. You already know what it is, which we're into based off the title of this video. You heard me? Hey, I just want to tell y'all first want to say, I haven't actually had a chance to talk about, the Milwaukee and them getting Dame and stuff like that, man. I haven't had a chance, and as y'all know, I've been sick and stuff like that, and haven't had a chance to come on camera yet. But I just want to say that was a crazy joint. But I don't know. Let's just see. Let's just watch this video. I don't want to do too much talking. I don't want to keep on talking. So I want to get right into this, man.
Stotts has stepped down as an assistant coach with the Bucks, according to our senior insider Adrian Wojnarowski.
So his knowledge of Dame Lillard and all the reps they have together really looked like an unexpected bonus after this trade went down.
Decided that he won't continue in that role.
The Milwaukee Bucks are already running into some drama, and I don't know how significant this drama is because a lot of the information we're getting about the situation is very vague, and we're going to have to draw a lot of our own conclusions. Regardless, I found this to be very fascinating and noteworthy of bringing to your guys' attention. So before we get to the content, make sure you drop, like, subscribe, and at the flight mic.
Alright, man, I'm not getting paid for any of that.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? I want to preface this video by letting you guys know whatever I'm bringing up in this video isn't as significant as the looming threat that the Milwaukee Bucks had last year. You know, the fact that Giannis Antetokounmpo was considering leaving the Milwaukee Bucks if they weren't consistently contending for a championship. Ultimately, the Milwaukee Bucks were able to give Giannis Antetokounmpo exactly what he wanted and make sure that they were consistently trending towards the direction of winning a championship by making a series of significant moves this past offseason. The first being the retention of Brook Lopez and, of course, Chris Middleton, who has long been Giannis Antetokounmpo's partner in crime. The next being the fact that they fired Coach Mike Budenholzer after a very disappointing end to the Milwaukee Bucks season. These were all seen as minor decisions made by the Milwaukee Bucks to prove to Giannis that they would do whatever they can to retain him, but the true icing on the cake came just a few weeks ago when one of the longest sagas in the NBA offseason finally came to a close. Throughout the entire offseason, we were projecting that Damian Lillard was going to get traded to the Miami Heat. It seemed like the Miami Heat took too long to come up with a trade proposal, or the Milwaukee Bucks at the last moment came in and gave the Portland Trail Blazers an offer that they couldn't refuse. And to be honest, if you look at the trade haul that the Portland Trail Blazers got at the end, and all the trades that were made subsequently as a result of this trade, I think they made the right decision. But the Milwaukee Bucks traded a huge staple of their 2021 championship team, Drew Holiday, a 2029 unprotected first-round pick, swap rights in 2028 and 2030 in order to bring in Damian Lillard. I don't think people are understanding how significant that trade is. In 2028, 2029, and 2030, we don't really know where the Bucks are going to be. Essentially, they're trading away 3 consecutive picks in the post-Giannis Antetokounmpo era. But at least now, they're able to maximize their championship window with Giannis Antetokounmpo.
We're going to have to win, though, for sure.
To him that they are committed to winning a championship so long as he is on the roster. Nothing tells your current superstar that you're doing everything you can to win a championship than mortgaging your team's future. There's been instances in years past where it hasn't paid off, like in the case of the Los Angeles Clippers, or briefly in the case of the Brooklyn Nets. They were able to recoup those assets from the James Harden trade, but what we're essentially trying to say is this is a huge risk, and they're going all in on their current core. If you look at the Eastern Conference, the Boston Celtics, Milwaukee Bucks, Philadelphia 76ers, and Miami Heat are my primary contenders to come out of the East as potential Eastern Conference champions. Everything is looking good for the Milwaukee Bucks, but there's only one detail that we didn't mention. You see, the Milwaukee Bucks brought in a brand new head coach this past offseason.
I know he was black.
You know, the guy that Jimmy Butler said this about?
Happy for both of those guys. I'm more pissed off that he went to Milwaukee because he went to Adrian Griffin's team, and everybody knows I don't like him.
Well, here's what's fascinating about this. Adrian Griffin has an assistant coach that Portland Trail Blazers fans are very familiar with. Terry Stotts, the head coach that had the longest tenure with Damian Lillard. As a matter of fact, Damian Lillard has been in the NBA for 11 years, and Terry Stotts has been his head coach from his rookie season all the way till 2021. After 4 consecutive first-round exits, the Portland Trail Blazers decided to bring in Chauncey Billups. Well, Terry Stotts agreed to be the assistant coach coach of the Milwaukee Bucks all the way back in June. So you can imagine how interesting this scenario is. Damian Lillard gets traded to an environment where his ex-head coach of 9 years is the assistant coach.
Funny.
And there's always going to be this narrative that
Damian Lillard got Terry Stotts fired the first time.
I mean, after 4 first-round exits, Dame was tired of Terry Stotts, and that's why he left the Portland Trailblazers. And so you can imagine how awkward things could potentially be with both of them on the same roster with each other. Now,
But you got man up. If you want to win a title,
I don't think it's a scenario where Damian Lillard and Terry Stotts hate each other because after 9 years they weren't able to move forward. Because at a specific point in business and in basketball, you do look at people that you're in partnerships with and say, hey, we've been doing this together for quite some time. We're clearly stagnating and it's best for us to part ways. And I don't think it's necessarily a point of animosity between Terry Stotts and Damian Lillard, because you could also look at it in a better light. Let's say if Terry Stotts wasn't a good head coach, then you could say Damian Lillard kept him at his position for 9 years as opposed to just a few years or a handful of years. I don't think this is anywhere close to, say, what Dwight Howard experienced with Mike D'Antoni,
that was
Gundy
the
experienced
time.
with Dwight Howard, James Harden experienced with Doc Rivers, but that's not stopping NBA fans from coming up with their own conclusions here. Because very shortly after Damian Lillard gets traded to the Milwaukee Bucks, Terry Stotts resigned. I really want to jump into this article with you guys. I think it's really lazy just to assume that Damian Lillard pulled up and said, hey, I don't want to be coached.
I didn't know he
head
resigned.
coach. So Shams Charania actually came out with a report here on The Athletic, and it's called
I've
Terry
really been
Stotts
at the loop.
Steps Down as Bucks assistant days after incident at shootout, according to sources. So I have my own theories about what happened, but this is what Shams Charania has to say.
Wow.
Although Milwaukee Bucks head coach Adrian Griffin did not mention any sort of issue between himself and assistant coach Terry Stotts on Thursday when he told reporters that Stotts was stepping down, their relationship was tenuous. League sources have told The Athletic there was also a brief incident at Tuesday's shoot-around in Oklahoma City. Stotts is leaving the team only 4 months after he returned, Griffin told reporters following the team's practice. It caught all of us off guard, of course, but again, you just support him. He was a terrific guy, but I learned a lot from him in a very short time. He was very good at what he does. He made a decision, a personal decision, and we just have to respect that. So automatically, a lot of people are suggesting that Damian Lillard got Terry Stotts fired once again.
Imagine.
You go to this Adrian Wojnarowski tweet where it says Terry Stotts has stepped down as an assistant coach with the Milwaukee Bucks. Stotts returned to coaching after 2 years away to join Adrian Griffin's new staff, but has decided that he won't continue in that role. There's a lot of people that are suggesting that Dame got him fired. Now here's the funny part. Woj went out of the way to draw this parallel without directly saying it, and I thought this was really sneaky. Stotts had been the Portland Trailblazers head coach for 9 years, advancing to the postseason.
Trying to be shady to the mug, boy.
Yeah. The whole replies is he didn't want to deal with Dame. He hates Dame. Dame is a coach killer. But I think it's
Coach killer crazy.
deeper than that. As you read the article, we get an insight as to what happened. According to sources who witnessed Tuesday's events, Griffin wrapped up the shoot-around and called the team together for a huddle to close out the day and let the players get to post-shoot-around shooting drills. During that huddle, Griffin informed the coaches that he wanted to have a separate huddle with them once they wrapped things up. When the players and coaches broke the huddle, Stotts went into the opposite direction of the coaches' huddle and instead started walking towards the players to discuss the offense. As Stotts attempted to start a conversation with Lillard and Giannis, Griffin called to Stotts to join the coaching huddle. When Stotts asked for some time with the players, Griffin yelled for Stotts to join the coaches' huddle. The incident occurred in front of the entire team, those sources said. So it seems like it's a little bit more complicated than, Dame got him fired, because it continues to say, while brief, the interaction highlighted the underlying complexity of the relationship between Griffin and Stotts in their first year together in Milwaukee. Around the situation on Thursday, there were two perspectives surrounding Stotts' resignation. One, his potential difficulty adapting to a bench role under Griffin after more than a decade as a head coach, and the other being a certain treatment and level of respect that was needed to be shown to someone with Stotts' pedigree. So in this article,
well, did you really win anything?
The fact that coaching
I understand, but
be a
did you win
frustrating
anything?
situation for Terry Stotts. The Bucks hired Stotts to be Griffin's lead assistant for multiple seasons. Stotts has 13 years of head coaching experience with 3 different franchises, including 9 seasons
see what
with
he means,
the
but yeah,
Trailblazers,
bro.
and his offensive
If it is,
expertise
if it had to do
would
with
play
it,
well with Griffin's defensive focus. Stotts has a 517 to 486 record in his 13 seasons as a head coach in Atlanta, Milwaukee, and Portland. Stotts could also be a useful resource for Griffin as he went through various experiences for the first time as a head coach, which I 100% agree with. I mean, especially a guy that has coached one of your superstars before, I feel like that could have been a huge advantage, and it seems like like Damian Lillard has so much respect and love for Terry Stotts, and if anything was excited to work with him again. As you see here, the partnership between Griffin and Stotts was not meant to be. Stotts ended it with his resignation. Both
His record's not even
Lillard
bad,
and Chris
anyway.
Middleton told reporters that they were given a heads up of Stotts' decision on Wednesday night, with Lillard telling reporters that Stotts reached out to him personally. "We spoke directly," Lillard said. "I don't expect anything different. We spend
It
so
depends
much
on what
time
type of
around each
disrespect
other in
we
this
talking
league,
about, though,
7
you know what I
to 8
mean?
months a year, practice every day, flights, hotels, dinners, watching film. We share a lot of intimate spaces, and like I said, being with him for 9 years and him being my head coach, me being the point guard of his team, we spent a lot of time around each other. We know each other really well. Even in the 2 years without him, we stayed in pretty consistent contact. So I don't expect anything different from him than to call me directly, and that's how it happened."
People
So
was trying to make it
sounds
seem like they
have a
was.
great
Oh, never
relationship
mind.
together, and Dame even said that he was surprised by his decision. "It kind of came out of nowhere. I've been in this
It might
long
be
enough
personal
to know
then.
these types of things happen. Everything continues, so you've got to kind of process things like this and other things that may come up and continue to move forward." For me, knowing Terry as long as I've known him, playing for him for 9 years, and him also making this transition for me easier, just having a familiar face be such a huge part of it was a good thing. I think now that I'm settled in, to see him go is unfortunate. It's sad to see him go, but like I said, everything is still moving forward. So the Bucks have to fill in his spot on the staff, but this isn't good. I mean, let's just put the Dame narrative aside. This is a man that really could have helped you build an offense around Damian Lillard that was on the coaching staff of a defensive-minded head
They could have been
coach.
even more
And the fact
dangerous,
that he
for real, for real.
resigned just 5 days before the NBA season is not a good thing. So, of course, there's a lot of collaboration in coaching staffs in the NBA, and I really think a man of Terry Stotts' pedigree could have really helped out with the Milwaukee Bucks going into this year. Because there's a lot of expectations. They have championship aspirations on this team, and this is a first-time head coach. There's two perspectives that I pulled up on Twitter. One being that Terry Stotts wanted control and the ability to do what he wants because he's experienced, and Adrian Griffin
I could see
wasn't
that
having
happening
it,
too.
which I guess is good if he's gone because you didn't want to have a consistent clashing throughout the season, but you could also look at it from the perspective that Griffin is an overbearing micromanager and Terry Stotts wanted some more freedom. Either way, it's not a good situation for the Bucks. Not the best start to the season. I don't think it's going to be the end of their season, but it's definitely
We'll
not
see
the
what
right
happens,
start
though.
to the season. Let me know in the comment section down below.
Man, we'll see what happens, man. Y'all tell me your thoughts about all of this now in the comment section, man. I thank y'all. Look, y'all, your boy will be back with some more banger videos like you already know. Catch y'all on the flip side.